Hour 2 is for Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, The Accountant 2. Christian Wolff applies his brilliant mind and illegal methods to reconstruct the unsolved puzzle of a Treasury chief's murder. Starring Ben Affleck, Joe Bernthal, and J.K. Simmons. The Accountant 2 in Landmark Cinema now. Okay. The best drama, though, is in sports. Let's bring in Jim Lang. We're going to get around to the NFL in a dormant time for them, but there is news in the NFL. He's Canada's foremost NFL expert. But Jimbo has written many best-selling books. He loves the Leafs. And our poll question, Jim, is, well, you're love-hate. Should Sam Bennett have been suspended for his contact on Anthony Stolarz last night? We know he won't be. What are you voting?
He should have got one game, Rod. It was a blow to the head in the crease. The NFL protects quarterbacks. When is the NHL going to protect goalies? He's saying he's making a play, but are you telling me he shoots the puck with his forearm at head level of Anthony Stolarz? That's how Sam Bennett shoots the puck? Yeah, I agree. I heard you. Great guy. He lives 10 minutes from here. Holland Landing, his family. Ate Fruit Loops out of the Stanley Cup or Captain Crunch or something because he said his daddy would do that. But he's got a history of crashing the net. So they don't call a penalty last night. We got Anthony Stolarz taken to the hospital for observation. Fortunately, he's back at the rink with the Leafs, and he's doing okay, but they don't know his status for Game 2 tomorrow. They don't know his physical status, whether or not it is a concussion. There's no suspension. So if you're Chief, you're Craig Berube, and you're the Leafs and Domi and Nyes and some of their power forwards, why wouldn't you go after Bobrovsky in the crease? But isn't it a fair game? Look what Bennett did to our goalie. Nothing happened. No penalty, no suspension. But we're just going to do the same.
Yes and no. I mean, our mutual friend Sid Sixero said, and nobody went after Bennett last night. And I'm like, Sid, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. This is take a number, get them next year territory. In my mind, you can't be flirting with 5-minute majors, I don't think, for any team right now.
Okay, so I agree. But you're going to the net, all of a sudden, oh, I lost an edge. Whoopsie, I fell into Bobrovsky. Oh, I'm sorry, I just fell on top of you. Hope you didn't get hurt. Because that's what Bennett basically is saying what happened to Stolarz. Like, I was just going to the net. I didn't mean to hit him. Sorry about that. He's my friend. But it doesn't take away from what happened to him. So, it should have been at least a 2-minute penalty on the ice. But I don't know why the refs don't call it.
That's what Paul Maurice said right after. But you don't need to run Bobrovsky. He had his worst game of the year last night. And trust me, I watch them all. Were you surprised with the way the Leafs came out? Quite frankly, I wasn't. I had Toronto picked to win the game. I have Florida picked to win the series. But what did you think of the game?
I thought it was the best game William Nylander's played in a long time. He's been really good this year, but the Florida Panthers for the first couple of periods didn't have an answer for him. He was just going to the net at will. I'm a really big believer in Matthew Nyes. I think he's got a huge future in Toronto, and I really don't envy any defenseman who has to deal with him. This is going to be a very interesting series. It's a very different Leafs team with Craig Berube as a coach than it was Sheldon Keefe, and I think there's a more even coaching matchup, a player matchup, and you can't discount the fact that some of the Panthers from last year are now in the Leafs, and so there's no secrets in either team. I really 6-7 game series. There's no way that Paul Maurice and the Panthers want to go back to Florida down 0-2. So the attitude and the effort of the Panthers right out of the gate tomorrow night for Game 2 will be fascinating. It'll be fascinating to see how the Leafs weather the storm the first 5 minutes of the game, because the Panthers have a little bit of desperation now.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised the Leafs won and that they came out great. I'm surprised the Panthers were that bad, and Bob does not play 2 stinkers in a row. So I think Game 2 will be totally different. What do you think tomorrow night?
Well, it all depends. I don't see Stolarz playing, considering what happened. So you're probably going to Joseph Wall, and then you have to hope that he can hold the fort for the first 5-10 minutes of that first period. Because if Stolarz is not playing and you're Paul Maurice and the Panthers, you're going to put every shot you can on net and test him. That was one of the reasons the Leafs got the lead, is they were throwing the pucks on the net. And like you said, Bob, miss some pucks. Some pucks he saves. And so I think Paul Maurice is going to tell his players, just go to the net, put everything on the net, and test him early and often and see if you can rattle him a bit. Because there's a famous clip last year in the postseason where he told his forwards, forget the puck, just pound the D. And in their run to the Stanley Cup. And I will be very interested to see what kind of strategy changes are made by Paul Maurice going into the game. Because I think you have two good teams with superstars in each team, and I think they're very evenly coached, two coaches with Stanley Cup rings. It has the makings of a great series, Rod.
I know. It's a long ways from over. But let me ask you this. Paul Maurice was the head coach of the Leafs from 06 to 08. If you know anything about Florida, when he came here, nobody knew who he was because they only follow their own teams, maybe when they're winning. I'm like, no, he's good. He'll be good. Do you see a difference in him now from then?
Oh, yeah. I covered him every day on Home on the Road. I was a traveling reporter when he was with the Leafs. And He was dealing with different layers of management with the Leafs. And I'll never forget one game. It was late in the season. And after games, you'd see John Ferguson Jr. and Richard Petty and Larry Tannenbaum in their suits all in a row, walking down from the owner's box, going to the front dressing room. And one day, Paul Maurice, I think, had enough, closed the door. You could see him tell security, no one gets through this door. And, Paul Maurice, very smart, eloquent, but he's from Sault Ste. Marie. And when he wants to let the players have it, he'll let them have it. And he was letting them have it that day. And basically, the security's like, I can't open this door, Coach said. And you could see Larry Tannenbaum and all the Leaf management go, what? And they made them go around to the back way. I think what's different this time is when Paul Maurice took the job, there was definitive roles. And whether it's ownership or Bill Zeder or that, it's Paul Maurice's team. He coaches it. He runs it the way he sees fit. And I think because of his experience and confidence, when you're talking about 17 years on from Toronto and not dealing with all the different layers of ownership and management in Toronto, it's been good for him.
Unbelievable story. Thanks for sharing. David, number 1 in Winnipeg, says, Jim, can I get your thoughts on Game 7, Jets Blues? Oh, my God, they're still talking about it there. And they should. He says, I feel St. Louis went away from their game that they played all series, and in the third and double OT allowed Winnipeg to do what they wanted. What did you think of Game 7?
Well, I mean, think about it. It was 2 historic Game 7s in a row with Mikko Rantanen and the Stars, and then you got Winnipeg. And I have no dog in the fight, but Winnipeg winning that series and moving on is good for hockey, good for the NHL, and good for this country, Canada. Those fans are some of the most loyal sports fans in North America. They have been kicked around for too long, and to see them tie the game with like under 3 seconds to go in regulation and win in double OT, and the scenes inside and outside the rink, and the whiteout's going to continue. It's great. I couldn't be happier. I mean, this is why people spend so much money on rights for sports, Rod, because TV as we know it is dying. But sports is not, because you can't script what happened in Winnipeg in that game.
And it's why people spend so much on tickets. And they're so glad that they did, to say that they were there, right? And that's, you're not going to get that every night. You're not going to get that every generation. Yeah.
But now they got to face a very tough Dallas team who's probably going to get Heiskanen and Robertson back. What a series. We better see regular season Connor Hellebuck, not postseason Connor Hellebuck, if Winnipeg's going to survive the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, for sure. Just on that Winnipeg sports fan thing, I was so happy when the Bombers ended the 30-year Grey Cup drought too. And yes. They're a first class outfit. Their fans are awesome. We hated each other when I was in Sask, but for whatever reason, they've supported this show, and I love them for that. And I think we're all Jets fans. Troy in Toronto writes in, he says, Jim is passionate about sports, and that is why he's a great guest. Oh, and an even better person. I can attest to that. Okay,
thank you.
To the NFL, Jim. Delicious.
Yes.
Shitter. Just tell me what you thought about draft weekend.
I thought it was fascinating theater. I thought Mel Kiper Jr. embarrassed himself as a professional broadcaster. Now, I thought he embarrassed himself before when he said that Jamarcus Russell was the second coming of John Elway, but they kept him along. I thought he embarrassed himself before when he said, if this guy, I can't remember the quarterback off the top of my head, but if this guy doesn't make it, I quit. And he barely lasted a few years in the NFL. But they keep bringing him back. I don't know why. And the way he was yelling at all the panel members for the NFL, to me, it's the height of unprofessionalism. So you thought a guy was going to go in the first round or second round and went later. That is not the end of the world. And the fact of the matter is, no matter how much media homework you do, you will not know more than the teams. You will not know what the Jacksonville Jaguars had in mind to trade up to get Travis Hunter. You will not know why certain teams are making certain moves to move up and down in the draft. Teams hold mock drafts within their war room for weeks on end, coming up with every scenario. They throw out disinformation to make the Mel Kipers of the world go on the air and make it sound like he knows what's going on. And then they do the exact opposite. Why would he think he knows more than an NFL GM who's been in the league 30 or 40 years? Who know? I mean, they know talent. I mean, Mel Kiper, yeah, he can be entertaining at times, but it was an embarrassing performance for a media member.
I'm looking him up on the big board. Okay, he's 64. To me, that's not old. To me, that's not old.
Not to me.
No, but he would classify as a senior, depending on your definition of it. And I don't know about you. I don't think your parents aren't alive, right, Jim? Have you ever dealt with a senior? Okay,
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
They have a tough time admitting when they're wrong. At least the ones that I knew. Right?
Yes,
that's what we saw right there. That's what we saw. You know?
There's a right way and a wrong way to handle if you're Mel Kiper Jr. Hey, I thought this guy was going to go there. So instead of yelling at everyone on the panel and saying this isn't yelling up to the NFL and calling out GMs and coaches, why not try to explain to the viewer what's happening? Why did they transition? Where do you think he fits? Yada, yada, yada. But you didn't. So if you spend the whole time yelling because you think you should be right, you're not educating. The whole role of that, the whole reason he's being paid big money is to educate the viewers and the fans of what is going on. Tell us, why did Jacksonville trade up to get Travis Hunter? What was the thought process? Not start yelling about Shedeur Sanders. That doesn't do the league or the ESPN any good.
Well, I think DuPont really laughed about this. He read it to me. Reese Davis put Mel Kiper in a body bag.
It was beautiful.
I don't think we... Why can't I stop laughing about it? God bless America. I see these memes like Mel down. All caps, melt down. He's put the Mel in meltdown. I don't think you can bring him back, Jim. I think that was it.
Fans, sorry, Rod, real quick. For football fans out there, you want to laugh, just Google Mel Kiper's misses on draft day. And all these people, he would spend weeks going on ESPN saying, so-and-so is the second coming of Earl Campbell or John Elway or Tom Brady, and fail after fail. Because he is guessing. He's thinking this is what's going to happen. He doesn't know what's in the minds of the teams.
Now, Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, crazy Kiper. I think he's got to be done after this. And the thing is, he had a great run.
He
but
did.
Google has screwed him over. He's done. And the thing is, my dad scouted in the NHL for 26 years. Why do you think I don't run off at the mouth about players? The only guy that I did was Connor Bedard, but I was able to see him from 15 on. Right? That's what they do. Mel, what are you? You're a TV pundit, and that's about it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but You're not a personnel guy.
Here's the other thing that everyone has to understand on any draft of any league of any sport. Sometimes teams and coaches and GMs and management go, you know what? We need a left-handed defenseman this year. You know what? We need an offensive tackle. Because they think in their big picture, this is what they need. And despite all the mock drafts and despite what people think, they may trade down because they know on the 10th pick or 15th pick, they can get the player they want and get an extra pick for the second round. And they're like, why didn't they pick so-and-so? Because they don't think they need him. They have a need at that. Sometimes they're drafting for a need to fill a hole on the line in the secondary at receiver. It's not always the best player available. Sometimes they think, you know what? We are set at this position. We have someone under contract for big money, but we could use that. So why don't we make a deal and get that player later? That's part of the chess game that is pro sports and draft day.
This goes so fast with you, Jim. I guess I got to squeeze this in. God bless South Florida. You've been here. There was a guy working out of the gym today. He's probably 65 to 70 wearing a Jason Taylor Dolphins jersey on the treadmill. I'm like, yes. And there's this rumor that Aaron Rodgers might end up here. I have not had the energy to go down the rabbit hole. Have you heard it? And if so, what's up with it?
I have not heard that, I must admit, Rod.
Okay.
But I think we're getting to the point now as we're getting into May and teams are doing mini camps and OTAs and looking ahead to the start of training camp in July. If I'm Aaron Rodgers and his representation, you got to start finding a place to play because, he's not 25 years old anymore. And he comes with, certain off the field baggage with his thoughts and social media and whatnot. So people will go, do I want him? Do I not want him? Does he fit in? And what can he give us? How long can he give us that? So those are all questions that'll have to be answered. So if you're the Miami Dolphins, what's the upside to getting him? And how long does he play there? And what does he give us? I mean, that's the question any team would be. I mean, there's not taking Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but at this point in his life and his career with his injuries and whatnot, it's not an easy discussion to have.
Well, as Lancaster used to say about Regina, if you haven't heard a rumor by noon, they start one. And that's South Florida with Dolphins fans. That's just the way that it is, man. And it's great. It's awesome. Okay, Jim, thanks for this, man. Enjoy the hockey. Let's chat soon. Thanks for the time.
Go Leafs, go! Go Leafs, go! Woohoo!
Approved.
Home. Best-selling author, Leafs and NFL pundit, Jim Lang. See, there's another media guy who loves the Leafs. Just say it. Jim does. We'll be back. Viewer takeover the rest of the way. Live here on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.